Gamescom took place this week. Charles Martinet is no longer voicing Mario. New information on the new PlayStation handheld controller device, now named the PlayStation Portal. Baldur's Gate 3 coming to Xbox this year, but with a catch. All that and more on this edition of the Miikcast Station. Hi guys, DPX here, going over the news on the Miikcast Station. It's been a while since we've done this. We're back. Baldur's Gate 3 is currently ruling the world right now with its player base on Steam and its crazy review scores, and there is much anticipation from PS5 owners such as myself as it drops on PS5 in just a little over a week. However, Xbox players felt a little left out because it seemed like there were no plans to bring the game to Xbox, and definitely not this year. And that is mainly due to the split screen mode, as the Series X can handle it no problem, but the Series S not so much, and Microsoft doesn't want to cut stuff out of one console. They want both the Series S and Series X versions to be the same. Well, they have recently made a deal with Larian Studios to bring the game over to Xbox by the end of the year, and the split screen will be cut from the Series S version. As far as I know, this is the first time there is like a significant difference between a Series X version of a game and the Series S version of a game. But if it's between this or not getting the game at all on Xbox, I think it's a fair compromise for Xbox players to get the game. But what are your thoughts on Baldur's Gate 3 coming to Xbox but with a catch? Back in May, PlayStation had their PlayStation Showcase, and in that, they announced a new handheld accessory that at the time was called the Project Q or the Q Lite. I heard both names being said. We got some new information on it. For one, it is now called the PlayStation Portal and will launch for $200 US. I think that's a fine price that I'm kind of surprised PlayStation actually went with, but I personally don't even get the point of this. It's not really a portable PS5, as you need an internet connection to play it, and you also stream the games. It seems like a slightly better Wii U gamepad, and they want to do remote play, but they already have remote play for your mobile phone. But regardless, the PlayStation Portal is scheduled to release by the end of the year for $200 US. What are your thoughts? Metal Gear Solid Master Collection Volume 1 is a highly anticipated collection of the first 3 Metal Gear Solid games, along with the MSX and NES games. However, some recent news started to surface about the collection. For one, on the Switch, you need to install a good percentage of the game, meaning most of the game does not come on the cartridge. Secondly, the Metal Gear Solid games apparently run worse than they did on PlayStation 2, PlayStation 3, and Xbox 360. Personally, I feel like when people make a big deal over games being 30 FPS or 60 FPS, I feel like that's something people pretend to care about, but in the case of games that were on the PlayStation 2, and one of them even being on the PlayStation 1, this is kind of embarrassing. Still hope it turns out well, as Konami always puts out fantastic collections, but then again, they usually outsource them. You know, the Contra collection, Castlevania collection, TMNT collection, all those are outsourced. Konami is taking this one head on. So I'm still hoping it turns out well, but I'm telling you, the trust you put in Konami is probably best put somewhere else. Anyways, what are your thoughts on all this? A while back, EA and BioWare announced that they were bringing back Dragon Age, and while we haven't really been getting many updates on it, we later learned that it is going to be called Dragon Age Dreadwolf, which I think is a pretty cool name. Well, still not much has come out about it, but it has been reported that the game will likely not even come out till 2025 at the earliest. And it was scheduled, or at least penciled in for a release of 2024, but it's been delayed to 2025 the earliest. They should really take their time. God forbid BioWare end up with another Mass Effect Andromeda or Anthem, but I think Dragon Age Dreadwolf is an example of a game announced way too early. But what are your thoughts? God of War Ragnarok was my personal favorite game of last year because of the story it told and the character arcs they had, and It's just so good. Well, there have been many rumors floating around that DLC for God of War Ragnarok is deep in development. It's not really known what the DLC is, and personally, I feel like the story of God of War Ragnarok kind of made it so that I'm not quite sure what they can do for DLC. Oh, maybe more stuff where you can play as Atreus, or maybe even some other characters. I don't know. What are your thoughts on God of War Ragnarok potentially getting DLC? I think it is fair to say that the Atari 2600 is the first impactful video game console ever. But now Atari are re-releasing the Atari 2600 as the Atari 2600 Plus. This is quite interesting as it seems to be quite literally an Atari 2600, but more modernized and also not quite an Atari 2600, as I'll mention something later. But it includes things like an HDMI port, but even it still has a cartridge slot and plays cartridges, which is very interesting and is kind of cool. It comes with a 10 games in one cart that has 10 classic Atari games, and it can even play Atari 7800 games. Not to mention the Atari 2600 Plus has a price of $129.99 US, and a release date of November 17th of this year. What are your thoughts on the Atari 2600 Plus? Charles Martinet, the man behind the voice of not just Mario, but Luigi, Wario, Waluigi. He's just synonymous with Mario and has been for 3 decades, but now has stepped down from the role and is now an ambassador for the Mario franchise. The statement given by Nintendo kind of seemed like he had died, which is what I thought before reading more into it. And if y'all didn't read more into it after just seeing a bunch of posts saying thank you Charles Martinet, you probably thought the same thing. But really, thank you Charles for giving us this iconic voice for so long, and as long as it was a mutual decision and Nintendo wasn't like forcing him out of the role, I think we should all be good. Anyways, what are your thoughts on Charles Martinet retiring as the voice of Mario? Last but not least, Gamescom took place this week, and while it was an event that took place throughout the whole week, Opening Night Live was the stream where they showed a bunch of stuff, and I'm not going to go over everything, but I'm going to go over some stuff I really liked, and I'll mention some things I didn't like about it, and give my overall thoughts. Starting with some games I liked, of course, Mortal Kombat 1 continues to look amazing, and even after playing the beta, I cannot wait to play the rest of the game. This new trailer revealed that Sindel is returning along with Shao Kahn, but he is now General Shao, a new take on Shao Kahn. We also got a nice look at Raiden along with Shujinko and Motaro being revealed as cameos. In addition to Mortal Kombat 1, we also got a new trailer for Alan Wake 2, which continues to look more and more exciting but also terrifying. We also got a release date for Sonic Superstars as it is coming out on October 17th, a date we already kind of knew, but it was never officially announced till now, but I kind of wish it would maybe come out in like November because October is just too packed. There was also Tekken 8 that got shown with a new single player mode that seems to be just like the World Tour mode in Street Fighter 6, and I mean that in a good way, and will release on January 26th of 2024. Black Myth Wukong was also shown, a game I've had my eye on for a while, but don't think it was ever shown on a stage as big as this, so I'm happy it got some extra eyes on it. And it looks amazing, but also really difficult. We also got to see more of Crimson Desert, which we haven't seen in a while and kind of forgot it was happening, but I cannot wait to play it. They also showed more of the Phantom Liberty DLC expansion for Cyberpunk, and it looks like the Cyberpunk we were promised at release, with some new revisions to the open world and gameplay mechanics, and the stuff added to the game itself is going to be a free update, with the story expansion just being the DLC. I thought Gamescom was really good, but not perfect though. For one, Rebel Moon looks great, and I'll probably watch it when it comes out, but this is a movie, and this is a video game show, so it really did hurt the pacing. Additionally, we got 3 Hoyoverse games in a row, you know, Genshin Impact, Zenless Zone Zero, and Honkai Star Rail. And I'm sure fellow member of the Miikcast, Greg, shit his pants over this, but the fact of the matter is, those games are for a specific audience, and I'm not saying they can't have any of them here, but 3 of them in a row really fucks the pacing in my opinion. Also, Call of Duty Modern Warfare 3. Just when I thought COD was gonna fuck off for once, we are getting Modern Warfare 3, the year after we got Modern Warfare 2. And I'm sure it's exciting for the people who wanna play it, but they just spent way too long on this one. And lastly, although this isn't really Jeff Keighley's fault, those dumbasses that rushed the stage asking for GTA 6, trying to copy the Bill Clinton kid from the Game Awards, can honestly go to hell. Once again, it's not Jeff's fault, and I commend him for keeping his cool and handling it like a pro, but this is the second show of his where this happened, and security really needs improvements, because if this keeps happening, someone can get hurt on stage. But otherwise, it was a very solid show in my opinion. What did you guys think of Gamescom? And that'll do it for the Miikcast Station. What are you guys' thoughts on any of these? Let me know in the comments below. Anyways, this is DPX of the Miikcast signing off of the Miikcast Station. Let's hope we are back for good. See you guys.